It wasn't the kind of envelope the Secret Service flagged. No wires, no powder, no threats. Just a simple, hand-drawn stamp in the corner that read, "For Mr. President, from Jamal." It arrived in a pile of hundreds, as they always did, letters from citizens, prayers, complaints, school assignments, dreams folded into paper. But something about this one made it past the filters. The handwriting was shaky. The drawing on the front, a crayon sketch of the White House, crooked and proud, seemed like it came from a child trying to imagine the most powerful place in the world. Inside, the letter was short. Dear President Obama. My name is Jamal. I am 9. My mom says you help people. I want to be brave like you. But it's hard. I miss my dad. He got sick and went to sleep forever. Mom cries at night when she thinks I can't hear. I try to be strong for her. But sometimes, I'm scared too. If you have time, can you write me back? Sincerely. Jamal, from Detroit. That night, Barack Obama didn't sleep much. He'd read thousands of letters before. Some burned with rage. Others overflowed with love. But this one carried something different, a kind of fragile courage. It didn't ask for money or fame. It didn't demand a law or plead for mercy. It just asked for a reply. And so, for the first time in weeks, he pulled out a blank sheet of White House stationery. He started to write, not as a president, not as a politician, but as a man who once lost his father too. Dear Jamal. You're already braver than most people I know. 1:17 a.m., the White House, West Wing. The Oval Office was dark, save for the solitary desk lamp casting a soft halo over the president's notes. Most of the West Wing had long since fallen asleep, security rotations thinning, the air hushed with the kind of silence reserved for sacred spaces. But Barack Obama wasn't sleeping. He sat alone at the resolute desk, sleeves rolled to his elbows, jacket draped on the leather chair behind him. His tie was loosened, his pen uncapped, and before him sat a simple envelope, hand-addressed in careful, uneven cursive. It had arrived in the day's batch of mail, the 10 letters he requested every night, chosen from tens of thousands by the Office of Presidential Correspondence. But this one didn't look like the others. The envelope was decorated with a small, blue star and a strip of red crayon near the bottom corner. Inside, one sheet of lined notebook paper, folded twice. No return address, just a name. Caleb. Age 7. From Omaha, Nebraska. He unfolded the page slowly, already feeling the gravity in its weightlessness. Then he read. Dear President Obama. My name is Caleb and I am 7. My mom says you are the boss of the country. I have a question. If someone is sad all the time and their dad doesn't come home anymore, what do they become? I don't want to be invisible. Obama didn't move. Not for a long time. His fingers rested on the edges of the paper, his eyes scanning the same lines over and over. Outside, the flags fluttered in the early morning wind. Inside, the leader of the free world was trying to understand how a second grader could distill a national wound into 12 words. He leaned back. Closed his eyes. And then he whispered, to no one but the ghosts of this historic room. Not invisible, Caleb. Not on my watch. The boy in the quiet house. Caleb lived in a single-bedroom apartment above a laundromat. The walls were thin. His mother worked nights, 2 jobs, sometimes 3. His father had left a year ago after the divorce papers were signed with more silence than signatures. The boy had taken to writing letters. Not just to the president, but to anyone who felt big. His teacher. A weatherman. Even Santa, months after Christmas. But this one, the one he sent to Washington, D.C., had something different written between the lines, not hope, but a plea not to vanish. And somehow, by the strange laws of grace or fate, that letter made it to the top of a pile that most people never read. The reply. Back in the Oval Office, Obama didn't delegate this one. He didn't ask a staffer or a speechwriter. He took a fresh sheet of presidential stationery and wrote slowly, deliberately. Dear Caleb. I read your letter tonight. It was honest and brave, and that makes you both of those things too. You are not invisible. I see you. I hear you. And I believe in the kind of strength it takes to ask the question you did. Being sad doesn't make you less. It makes you human. And even when things are hard, and I know they can be, there's always someone who cares. Tonight, that someone is me. He signed it not with flourish, but with intent, Barack Obama. Then he looked up at the presidential seal above the fireplace and whispered, let it matter. He didn't sleep that night. When the letter landed. 5 days later, in Omaha, the envelope arrived. White. Thick. Stamped with the seal of the President of the United States. Caleb opened it at the kitchen table, his mother watching with the kind of exhaustion that masks as disbelief. When he read it, his hands trembled. Then he looked up, eyes wide. He wrote back, he said softly. He said he sees me. That night, he slept with the letter under his pillow. Echoes of a promise. Back in Washington, no one covered the story. There were no headlines, no tweets. But the letter stayed with Obama. He kept a copy in a small wooden box with other fragments of meaning. Drawings, thank you notes, photographs of people he'd never met but who trusted him with their pain. Because leadership, he believed, was not just measured by what laws you passed, but by who you answered when the cameras were off. And somewhere, in a quiet neighborhood above a laundromat, 6 years later, Chicago, Illinois. The rain came down like memory, gentle, persistent, never fully leaving. Outside a modest brick building on the south side of Chicago, a line had begun to form. Inside, folding chairs lined a gymnasium floor polished not for ceremony but community. It wasn't a campaign event. No press. No fanfare. Just a neighborhood youth dialogue hosted by the Obama Foundation. And yet, Barack Obama felt that weight again, the weight that came when you weren't sure if your words were still enough. He adjusted the cuffs of his white shirt, no tie today, no suit jacket either. The grays in his hair had deepened, his gait a touch slower, but his eyes, still observant, still kind, scanned the crowd gathering through the side curtain. That's when he saw him. Third row. Black hoodie. Spiral notebook in hand. Caleb. He wasn't 7 anymore. 14 now. Taller. Thinner. Eyes still carrying the same quiet gravity. Obama stared for a beat too long before turning back behind the curtain. He remembered. Not just the name. Not just the letter. But the weight of it on his desk, the ache it left in his chest. In the years since, he'd thought of Caleb often, especially on nights when the news was loud, but the country felt deaf. He never expected to see him again. And now, here he was. Older. Still scribbling. The dialogue. The event began like many before. Youth were encouraged to share ideas, fears, ambitions. One girl spoke about food insecurity. A boy, about violence in his neighborhood. Obama responded to each with the same deliberate care, validating without patronizing, encouraging without preaching. Then it was Caleb's turn. He didn't raise his hand at first. He just stood up. I don't have a question, he said, voice lower than expected but steady, but I think I have a story. Obama leaned forward. When I was 7, Caleb continued, I wrote a letter to someone I never thought would answer. I told him I was scared. That my dad left. That I felt invisible. Silence swept across the room. And he wrote back. Told me I wasn't. That he saw me. That I mattered. I kept that letter under my pillow until I was 10. Then I framed it. Now Obama leaned back. A slow exhale. He didn't interrupt. He let the boy speak. I just wanted to say, thank you. I don't think you know what that meant. What it still means. There was no applause. No emotional outburst. Just the sacred hush of a room witnessing the full circle of care. Obama stood. Walked to the front. Then, unexpectedly, stepped off the stage entirely. He walked toward Caleb. He stopped in front of him. Eyes level. The room held its breath. Caleb, he said, I remember your letter. A long pause. You told me not to let them take the country's heart. Caleb blinked, stunned. Obama smiled. I tried, buddy. Every day. Still do. The conversation that mattered. After the event, most of the youth drifted out. But Caleb stayed. Obama too. A quiet conversation unfolded in a side room over lukewarm coffee and vending machine snacks. Caleb talked about his school, his poetry, the moments when he almost gave up again, when the streets whispered lies louder than his dreams. Obama listened like a father, a mentor, a man who once needed someone to believe in him too. You still writing? Obama asked. Every day. Then keep going. The world needs your voice. Especially when it feels invisible. Caleb pulled out his notebook. Want to read something? Obama nodded. The boy opened to a page dated just a week earlier. He titled it, The Letter I Never Sent Back. Dear President. I'm older now. I still get sad sometimes. But now, I write. I write because you answered me once. And that meant I could answer myself next time. Obama read it twice. Then he looked at Caleb with a mix of pride and something harder to name. Maybe 2 years later, Washington, D.C. The hall wasn't grand. No velvet curtains. No marble busts. Just clean white walls and rows of foldable chairs. The kind of place made not for spectacle but for substance. The National Youth Voices Summit was in its third year, and this one carried more weight than the rest, because this year, someone different was opening it. At the center podium, under warm LED lights and the quiet hum of anticipation, stood Caleb Evans, now 16. He didn't look nervous. He looked ready. To the side of the stage, behind a line of organizers and interns, Barack Obama stood, hands in pockets, his head slightly bowed, not out of reverence, but reflection. He wasn't the main speaker. He wasn't even on the schedule. But today wasn't about him. Not anymore. Today, the mic belonged to someone who once wrote him a letter, and now, held the floor on his own terms. The speech. Caleb adjusted the mic. A soft static crackled, then quiet. My name is Caleb Evans, he said. I'm from the south side of Chicago. And when I was 7, I didn't think I mattered. A silence swept the room. Because when you're 7 and your dad walks out and the school counselor skips your name on the list of students worth helping, it's easy to think you're just background noise in someone else's story. He glanced toward the audience. Dozens of teens, some seated, some cross-legged on the floor, watching. But then, someone proved me wrong. He didn't say Obama's name. He didn't have to. I wrote a letter. And someone answered it. That answer didn't change the world. But it changed mine. And that was enough. Obama closed his eyes briefly, letting the words land. This wasn't a story being told for credit. It was a truth being carried forward. Turning it forward. But I'm not up here just to say thank you, Caleb continued. I'm up here because there's another kid, somewhere, writing a letter tonight. Maybe to a mayor. Maybe to a mom who doesn't come home. Maybe to no one. His tone tightened, his eyes fierce with purpose. I'm here to say, don't wait for the world to write back. The room shifted. This wasn't inspiration. This was ignition. You answer yourself. You build your voice like a bridge. And when it's strong enough, loud enough, you make sure no one else feels invisible again. A hand went up in the back. A young girl, no older than 10, whispered, "Can I ask a question?" Caleb smiled. Of course. The mic was passed to her. "Do you still have the letter?" He nodded. "Both of them?" The room fell silent. "I framed the first. I carry the second. Because the first reminded me I matter. And the second reminds me. I have work to do." Backstage moments. After the event, the crowd dispersed into pockets of conversations. Selfies were taken. Programs were signed. But in the quiet hallway behind the main room, Caleb walked beside Obama, neither saying much at first. "Was I okay?" Caleb finally asked. Obama smiled, proud and quiet. "You didn't speak like someone trying to be heard. You spoke like someone who knew we were listening." They stopped near a photo board, snapshots of youth activists from past years.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that move the world. Thanks for watching.